When stone shifts. Dawn came sideways, pale light rolled thin through the fog like cloth shoved under a door. Corin was already on the lowest ladder, a sack of mist fruit crisps strapped to his back and a coil of rope looped across his shoulder. The river below sounded wider than yesterday, as if it had stretched itself in the night. He climbed by habit, hook hand, place boot, test the sway, and tried not to think about the sound he'd heard at midnight when the shard braid flickered, not settling, not breathing, but something heavier, like stone remembering it could move. Above him, on the mid-terrace, Riva stood with her palm on the echo harp's trunk, eyes shut, braid tugged sideways by the draft. Even from below, Corin could see the wires trembling under her fingers, though she hadn't plucked them. Mistborn ears could catch whispers in the wind that his dawnborn ears never would. Her eyes snapped open. "Corin," she called, sharp and thin in the wind. "Hold." He froze. Fingers tightened on rope. 2 breaths later the ladder gave a long sway, not from gust or weight but from something deeper, carried through wood into bone. Corin hauled himself fast up the last rungs and onto the terrace. The boards hissed under his boots with a faint grind he felt in his teeth. "Where?" he asked, breath quick. Riva shook her head once, then pressed her palm harder against the harp's wires. They gave no song. That silence unsettled him more than noise. Her voice came out a thread, post 3. They ran. By the time they reached the terrace where post 3 shouldered the cliff, others were gathering, Mareth with his staff and a coil of wedges, Alan dusted white from the bakery, 2 rope hands still fighting sleep. Idren stood braced against the anchor plate with both palms pressed flat, his jaw locked like quarried stone. The fog shifted, showing the cliff face. A crack ran jagged through the rock beneath the post, thin as a cut but deep, widening grain by grain. The shard braid that passed through the post trembled, silver light quivering like a plucked string. "It's spreading," Idren said. His voice was flat, but his knuckles had gone pale against the stone. "The anchor won't hold till nightfall." Mareth set his staff hard against the terrace planks. "Then we wedge it now." "It's not a wedge job," Idren snapped. "The whole plate's shifting. If it goes, it'll take 3 terraces with it." Riva's fingers brushed the harp again. This time a low moan rolled through the wires, a sound that didn't belong to wood or string but to air under strain. Her eyes stayed fixed outward. "It's not just the plate. The gorge is moving underneath." The rope hands flinched. Alan muttered a prayer, flour still in his hair. Corin set his jaw. "So we brace. That's what we do, isn't it?" Idren didn't look at him. "You can brace a post. You can't brace a cliff." The crack gave a low groan, stone grinding stone. Chips of dust sifted down, glittering faintly before the mist swallowed them. The shard braid shivered, dimmed a fraction, then steadied again, as if uncertain whether to hold or fail. "Fetch the others," Mareth ordered. His old voice sounded carved thinner than the mist. "Fetch them now." The rope hands bolted, their footsteps hollow across the planks. Idren bent low, scarred fingers probing the fissure's edge. "It's running deeper than I thought." His voice was quieter now, meant for no one and everyone. "If the stone under the posts gives way, the shard braid will drag them off like roots in a flood. Triple threading won't matter." Riva's hand tightened on the harp. The wires thrummed, discordant. "It doesn't want to hold." "Stone doesn't want anything," Idren said. "It only remembers where it used to be." The crack jumped with a noise like a snapped bone. The terrace lurched. Corin staggered sideways, dropping the sack. Mist fruit crisps scattered across the planks, rolling toward the edge. "Back!" Mareth barked. His staff struck the boards in warning. "All of you, back!" But the shard braid chose that moment to flicker. Not a heartbeat's shimmer this time, but a full pulse. Light bled thin, the silver line vanishing, and the fog rushed in greedy, wrapping the terrace in white. Cries rang out from the higher levels, echoing down the gorge. When the glow snapped back, half the terrace's posts were leaning, one anchor sagging loose as if the cliff had shrugged them aside. If post 3 went, the terraces above it would go too. Huts, food racks, even the shard braid stretched through their beams, everything would tear loose and tumble into the gorge. And once the braid was gone, the hollow would be nothing but wood and bone waiting for the fog to eat. Panic hit like a hammer. Doors banged open along the terraces above, families poured out, shouting names into the mist. A woman shoved her children toward the ladders, one clinging to her skirt, the other crying. 2 apprentices tried to scramble up at once and jammed the rungs, curses and elbows flying until Marit's staff cracked wood near their heads. "Order," the old man shouted, voice ragged. "One at a time or you'll bring the whole line down." Alan abandoned his basket of loaves, bread rolling across the boards as he seized an elderly neighbor and half-lifted her toward the safer upper planks. Behind them, someone dropped a crate of dried fish, it burst open and the gorge wind scattered the catch like scales. Corin reached for a rope hand slipping near the edge, dragging him back with a grunt. For a breath their eyes met, young, terrified, before the boy bolted for the ladders again. Above it all the shard braid shivered, light guttering, the whole hollow holding its breath with it. Riva's harp wailed with the wind, a sound half music, half warning. Idrin's face was pale as granite dust. His voice carried no more than a growl. "If post 3 goes, half the homes go with it."